Can you get a mortgage if you've got bad credit? In this video, I'm going to answer some of the most commonly asked questions around getting a mortgage with bad credit. My name's Gindy, I'm one of the senior advisors at Create Finance, so let's get into the video. Number one, can I get a mortgage with bad credit? The answer to the question is no. I'm joking, you can. Historically, there have only been a limited amount of lenders lending to borrowers with adverse or bad credit. However, over the last couple of years, a number of new lenders have entered the market, giving the borrower more choice. Number two, what type of bad credit could be considered for a mortgage? The good news is, if you have historic defaults, bankruptcies, RVAs, CCJs, late or missed payments, you could be considered for a mortgage. Ultimately, it depends on how historic that adverse credit was. You may need to put down a larger deposit, or you may have a high interest rate to pay, or depending on that credit profile. Question three, how can I improve my credit score before applying for a mortgage? I would make sure that you are paying your bills on time and you're not missing any direct debits or standing orders. I'd also ensure that any historic adverse credit such as defaults and CCJs have been satisfied. I'd also make sure that any errors on your credit report are rectified. All of this can help improve your credit score. Question four, how do I check my credit score? Get a copy of your credit report from checkmyfile.com. The reason why I like checkmyfile.com is that it compares 4 different credit referencing agencies on one document. Not all credit referencing agencies share data. So what this means is that if you've got historic adverse credit, it might appear on one credit referencing agency, but not the others. Mortgage lenders tend to use a combination of credit referencing agencies, or they may solely rely on just that one credit referencing agency. This helps us place you with the correct lender for your mortgage application. Question five, how much of a deposit is required if you've got bad credit? This largely depends on the adverse credit showing on your credit profile. If there's historic defaults, when I say historic, more than 3 years old, you may be applicable for a mortgage with a 5% deposit. If the defaults are more recent, you may have to put down a larger deposit, i.e. 10 or 15% of the purchase price. For the more serious adverse credits, such as a bankruptcy or a historic IVA, you may have to put down a 10 or a 15% deposit, but once again, it all depends on when that adverse credit was registered. So it's important that you provide a credit report to your broker to make sure that they can place you with the correct mortgage lender. The broker can then help determine how much deposit you would require for your property purchase. And number six, what interest rate can I expect if I've got bad credit? Similar to the previous question, it all depends on when the adverse credit was registered. For historic adverse credit, you may expect to get high street interest rates. If it's more recent adverse credit, and it all depends on the level of adverse credit you've had, you may expect to pay a high rate of interest for the first couple of years. As the adverse credit gets older and eventually comes off your credit report, the idea is then for you to get access to high street lending rates. Once again, that's why it's vitally important that you provide a copy of your credit report to your broker. If you have any further questions around getting a mortgage with bad credit, please drop us a question in the comments below. And please check out our other videos around getting a mortgage with bad credit.